When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Something that you do was red as the future was waiting for you. Train rolls in the station. You cannot make a move. Something inside you gives you heat, and then you know it's true. Is the fog lifting, or is it in your mind? You stand frozen as time unwinds. And moan, or you can't reach your hand up and stop standing alone. Let them take your hand as you lift your face. Rise and take your place.
hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection. And it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to Eye on the Target Radio. I feel like it's been forever since we were all together, but it really wasn't. I was just traveling in the middle.
By the time you got back.
Something like that. So what were you doing gun-related this week?
I went to a turkey shoot again. I won a $10 gift certificate.
For like bacon?
Yeah, to the meat market. So I'm sure I could get like two rashers of bacon or a hamburger patty or something.
One hamburger patty. Right, with things moving. Right. I'm not sure you can get 2 rashers of bacon anymore. You may get a rasher and a strip. Right, it's especially if you want like real bacon where a pig was involved, as opposed to some of those that are not quite pig involved bacons that are there. So I was in Florida at the Western Orlando Firearms Training Academy, and it is an amazing. I found out that it is one of the top 5 shooting schools in the country. And there is so many reasons why. So if you have an opportunity, folks, to go to WOFT, WOFT, if somebody invites you to go along, if you see a class there, do it.
It's a funny name for a place, though.
Western Orlando Firearms Training,
well,
so then they call it WOFT.
Right, but
yeah.
The regular words make sense. The waft thing doesn't
make sense. So it's not like it's WASP or anything. It's WAFT. But it is. They were doing low light training. They were doing active shooter.
Ammo there?
They had ammo. I didn't see the prices on the ammo though, but they had ammo.
I've noticed lately that they're starting to put limits on bullets again.
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention, folks. If you need bullets, start going every week and picking up whatever your limit is.
Pick up a few because, well, that was interesting. I was talking to TJ Kurgan, who owns the company called Tactical Shit, and you have to double check that website because right now he's currently got ammo, but he says ammo is moving fast, and it is moving because of the war in the Ukraine. Ammo is being diverted,
Everything's being blamed on the war in the
Ukraine. So in his case, he's like, there's ammo being imported because we don't manufacture the majority of the ammo that we shoot. It is being imported, and so in this aspect, the importation is being diverted, and so what was available is now not available. And then when you add the Russian thing on it, 40% of all ammo in the United States was coming from Russia. So immediately they've
over 390,000 trucks are off the road going on a parade around the Capitol building or something.
Well, there is that. But when you take any supply of anything and you cut out 40% of it, it starts to get tight pretty quick.
Especially when you throw in all the new gun owners that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a girl that she's like, I got a gun and I have bullets. Well, she has one box of bullets.
She had bullets.
That's not much.
So, okay.
When you say I have one box of bullets, that's like I don't have bullets. It's like
right. So we assume that when you
go to Wendy's and asking for crackers and they give you one pack, it's like that's not crackers. That's a crack.
Crack. You're right. It's a singular cracker, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm not shooting 200 bullets, it's not hardly worth figuring all my stuff out, and putting it in the car.
So how did it go? This training with the beginner shooter?
Good.
Yeah.
She was shaking like a leaf at the beginning, and afterwards she was pretty comfortable with it. I put 2 paper plates up, one a top one and a bottom one. I let her shoot at the bottom one, and she shot the top one. So
okay.
We finally got her to where she was actually hitting at the upper edge of the bottom one. So that at least was in the bottom one.
So she adjusted her shooting ability by 4 inches, like right off the bat.
Right. So it's just getting that sight picture and then that muscle memory of remembering what that sight picture is supposed to look like, and then being able to do it over and over and over again. And if you do it like that, then you shoot like Jerry Micklick does with every every shot's a hit without a.
I have to tell you that this is the craziest stuff that I've ever seen. Kay Micklick came to this because I was at the Ambassadors Academy. So there was WAF stuff, there was Second Amendment ambassador stuff going on. I was one of the instructors, so I was teaching a piece of it. And then Kay Micklick came to teach pistol and gun handling skills and up in people's game. So the girls are all, and it wasn't all girls, but it was probably 75% women in this class learning to be Second Amendment advocates. And they were taking pictures, and so you were seeing social media and all of this. So Kay has a grip that is slightly unique, and there were people on social media that was telling Kay Micklick how to hold a gun. Dudes, give it up. If you can shoot better than Kay, you can give her advice. Otherwise, put it away. Stop doing it. I know you've got a man card, but in this case, your man card does not even get you to the library.
I watched her and Lena one time with a shotgun. She had some kind of
shoulder surgery.
So she couldn't use the shotgun on the shoulder, so she just shot it from down
at a hip, yeah.
And she shot it like an 80-yard slug, and then some up close stuff. And then she would just hold her gun and swing it over, and the daughter would load it like 8 rounds, just one shoot.
One shove.
She'd be back to shooting right away again.
And she would just swing the gun out, brace her elbows against her body so the gun was stationary. Lena would load it, and she's back in the
back to shooting again. It was amazing. I mean, it's bad enough learning to load it for yourself, but trying to load for someone else. So both of you have to be on balance and in line, and everything's got to be just right. And they were able to tag team that and go so fast. It was unbelievable.
But I was watching them teach some of the girls that we know, that you know, how to run and gun and hit 2 holes in the same hole while they're running. And some dude is like, she's holding her gun all wrong. Right? If you can move and you can shoot, then
and actually hit what you're shooting
and then teach.
Maybe he needs to reevaluate where he's holding his gun instead of.
I think we're revoking his man card.
However you do, it's good enough apparently.
Oh my goodness! Right.
Well, I say, no matter how you do something, eventually be good at it, because you. It's just one way is a little easier to teach you to be good at it.
But when you are known across the country by your name, and everybody's like, ooh.
Apparently not by that guy. He didn't recognize that name or something.
Man. So one of the interesting things is that WAFT, Western Orlando Firearms Training School, is called Tactical Disneyland, and there really is a reason. I was there.
That's better than WAFT.
Right. Well, except the Disneyland, the real Disneyland, takes exception to the fact that we're allowed to say it, they're not allowed to write it down. Because if they write it down, then they are infringing on Disneyland's thing. But it is that amazing. So George wants to know, do Russians mainly use .44 Russian ammunition?
They did. That was they bought a ton of Smith & Wesson guns in the early century. And actually, a lot of countries used it. They call it 11. It was 11 millimeter by something, but there was a lot of like the German Reich pistol uses 44 Russian round and stuff like this. It's actually pretty popular. It was also the first bullet that was greased inside the case.
Huh. Well, there you go. A little bit of history there for you, George Galler. Just in case you needed to know that. So what else do you have coming up or going? Oh, I wanted to tell you, I'm planning something in October, and I started looking.
You were already doing stuff in October.
October's a big month. October's a big month. There's a couple different things. We're going to Gun Sight at the end of the month. We're going to Tommy Gun Warehouse in the middle of the month. And now in the beginning of the month, we are doing our entire educational shoot. And so I started to order ammo. So I'm going to give you guys a heads up. Order ammo now. So really think about it, start looking at it, and get...
I'm going to have to apply for some extra vacation time since I'm taking...
October. You're pretty much going to...
October off.
I'm just taking the whole October off. Yeah, October's getting kind of full. So I'm not sure that May's not equally full, but we're getting there. So we've got things. We've got things going on. We've got
Maybe
stuff
I should,
to do.
hire a lawn service while I'm
Well, it may be. I don't know. I don't know about that. So it's somewhat crazy. But on the AmmoLand website, they have a discount code on ammo right now. I can tell you all this because I used it already this morning. So now it's fair game. Think about it, check it out, and go. So so May is going to be epic, is what our video producer says. So it should be amazing. We'll be back right after this.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Range Master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
We are back, and in our history section, we are going to talk about the shotgun, your shotgun. What are we talking about?
I went to turkey shoot this morning, and
okay.
There's a couple of kids there, I mean, maybe 10, 11 years old. We were talking about shotguns, and he was showing me he has a brand new Remington with the, has like a pink and gray striped, what is it, stock?
That wood laminated?
Yep, that laminated wood stock. And he was asking me about my shotgun, and I was like, my shotgun is going to be 100 years old in 2 years. He's like, it doesn't look like it's 100 years old, but it's like that. But
my shotgun's going to be 100 years old.
So yeah, 1924, my shotgun came out. I was like, I didn't even think about the fact that it would be 100 years old. And the other thing is the anti-gunners always keep saying about how the old guns, they don't even count them because they're not using them or they don't work. But my 100-year-old shotgun works
just
like
won the bacon. Literally brought home the bacon, right?
Yeah, so it was just funny. It's like I have a Model 12 Winchester that I got from my grandfather, and it's I took it out this morning, and I think I shot 2 different times and won one of those, so I was good enough. And
there you go. That was good. So how was the?
There was a lot of people at the turkey shoot today. That was surprising, and.
Tell folks how a turkey shoot works, because if you're someplace and you see the sign for turkey shoot, what do you expect? What do you do? What do you?
They use a regular sheet of paper and they print a picture of it. I mean, today's was a picture of a squirrel, but at Thanksgiving time they have a picture. It's usually a hand-drawn picture of a turkey.
Of a turkey, right?
Okay, and it's got a little, like 2 or 3 circles in it with a fine X in it, and the guy that gets one BB closest to the X. I mean. That's the only one he has to have. The rest of the paper will be completely clean, and just one BB close to the X is enough to win. So it's actually a game of luck. There's not much skill involved.
You hit the target, and something hits something.
You have to hit the target, and then it's all luck after that, and you go from there. But it's, I mean, whether you got a little gun or a big gun, it really doesn't matter. It's all just in how close you can get one BB to that center spot there, and. That's funny because you talk to people and it's like, this is my lucky gun. I got a better gun at home, but this is my lucky
gun. This is it.
Like, I bought this gun years ago for $50. It shoots this game perfectly, so that's why I bring it all the time.
I bring it. So let's go back to so Grandpa gave you a shotgun.
It's a Model 12 trap gun, and it's stock English, as they call it. And
what does that mean?
It has a straight grip on the stock instead of a pistol grip. So the American is like a pistol grip for some reason, and the English like a straight stock, like a lever action rifle has on. So it's kind of funny to hold on to because your hand's in a weird position when you're trying to use it. But once you get the hang of it, it works really well. And since mine's a trap gun, it's a little rarer than a standard Model 12. They made a lot of them, but a lot of them have been either shot to pieces or taken apart and made into something else over the years because somebody didn't have a use for it. There's much better trap guns available nowadays that are.
Okay, so did Grandpa give you this gun, or did you get it when Grandpa passed?
When Grandpa passed, I got this gun, but it was kind of, he always used it as a backup gun. He had on the 50s when the 870s come out, he bought a TB and he carried this one as his backup gun. And then later on, he bought another TB, and he sometimes he would take all 3 of them to the shoot. Once in a while, he'd shoot this Winchester, but not too much because it's kind of heavy by modern standards too. It's funny. A friend of mine was shooting. They have an antique game, and you had to shoot a gun that was built before 1928. And the new guns, if you go to look at the Perazzi's or the Ludix or all these, they're super short action, fast lock time, so from the time you pull the trigger to the time the gun goes off is milliseconds and stuff. And these old guns, it takes so long for all the heavy parts to move around and do things. They're saying that some of the stuff's like your bird flies an extra 20, 30 feet by the time the gun goes off.
From all of that. That's pretty funny.
But it was a popular game in the 1890s, and it came all the way through. It's still kind of popular when people can afford shotgun shells or any of that stuff.
Well, I'm telling you, we have been going through some real ammo struggles for the last couple of years, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for a while.
Back in the 80s, for some reason, shot had went to $20 a bag, which people today, if they could get $20 a bag of shot, they'd be like, woohoo. But at that time, it was like when the gas went to $1 and I'm never driving again.
Right.
Like,
well, I think we're hitting that. I think $6 is the number that I'm hearing people say. That same thing. I'm riding a bicycle.
Well, that's the thing. When shot went to $20 a bag, everybody quit reloading. They quit shooting. They were all in this little bit of freak out mode at that time. And finally, it settled out. But because it's a commodity, it all depends on what everybody else is paying for it. And so if somebody all of a sudden needs all the lead and they're willing to pay for it, the next guy down the line has to pay more to get some lead.
So some of it to come their way. There is no doubt about it. Well, that's what I'm hearing about the ammo, is that it's just all getting diverted because of it's not getting imported. Because of the war, they're all queuing up to say where is it going, who's paying the biggest money. And then because they locked up all of the ability to send money to Russia, Russia won't send ammo to anybody who didn't pay for it or doesn't pay for it. And since you can't pay for it,
right.
then the importers are out of luck.
They'd also passed some bills earlier to lock down, so if you hadn't paid already, you couldn't get Russian ammo anyhow.
Yeah, you couldn't. So everything that was on the boat or everything that was committed and contracted.
So they locked you out of the Chinese ammo back in the Bill Clinton days. They locked you out of the Russian ammo just recently, and then now they've locked you out of all of the rest of the Eastern European ammo due to the fact that they're using it to shoot at each other.
And then we wonder what's happening with our ammo. I'm just saying, it's happening that way, so pay attention. So, yeah, so at the turkey shoot, no turkeys were harmed in the turkey shoot.
It's funny that they shoot a piece of paper. I mean, originally they did shoot a turkey. They would put a turkey behind a stump, and then the people with their flintlocks, when the turkey would stick its head up, you had to shoot the turkey in the head. So you only had a split second because you didn't know when the turkey was going to come up or down or do anything thing. And if you got the turkey, then you were the winner. And if you didn't get the turkey, then they'd have a shoot-off somehow, other way, and somebody got to eat stump so he could go home and reclaim all the lead out of it.
Something. That's crazy. I'm going to reclaim. Well, it makes sense. I'm going to reclaim the lead out of the stump. So do you take the stump and just burn it, and then you end up with your lead as a melty little chunk?
Put a pan under your fire and let it drown out, and then you could clean it all and reuse it again.
Well, that makes a ton of sense. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about Ohio's constitutional carry, and we've got State Rep Al Cutrona joining us.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. realizefac.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
Okay, folks, we are back, and you guys have heard me as a standard joke that Ohio is not necessarily the leader of the pack or the bravest state, and we're typically number 40 when it comes to whatever states go ahead and do. And I'm going to say not today. Ohio is now number 22 in passing constitutional carry. And so we have Ohio State Representative Al Cutrona on the line. And hey, Al, thanks for joining us on Eye on the Target Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here today.
Oh, no problem at all. So we wanted our listeners to hear directly from our state reps as to what happened and how did we get constitutional carry and what kind of a fight. I mean, we don't quite have it yet, but the governor's surely going to sign it. But what kind of fight did you have?
I mean, yeah, you definitely had an uphill battle. I mean, you had every major group out there really opposing this, and it's taken Ohio quite some time, obviously, to get this passed. Now, like you've mentioned, this is going to be going right to the governor's desk, and we're not really giving him much of an option. He's going to have to sign it, or we'll definitely...
Oops. I don't know where he went. I don't know what happened. Okay, so we just lost him. Hopefully he'll call right back in. So the point that he was making was that it is going to the governor's desk for a signature, and our governor in the state of Ohio. So, okay, Al, I was finishing your sentence for you. So our
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, our governor in the state of Ohio, he is being primaried, and so because of that, I think he's going to be a whole lot more receptive to the sportsmen and women in the state of Ohio. Can you confirm? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that at this point, anything that's a conservative bill up until the primary date, I think that it's really going to have him think, and it's going to definitely put the pressure and put the ball in his court. And this is a good opportunity to get these types of bills through. And I'm happy to say that I was a part of, voting in favor of constitutional carry.
I'm telling you, the vote was really kind of a tidal wave. There was so much, but I know that the conversations were not so much. And there was a House bill and there was a Senate bill, and they weren't the same. And then you guys had to kind of work and discuss and all of that. So some of our folks are not very political. So tell them, how does that negotiation work? How does this all happen?
Yeah, and so I guess I can take you through the general process, but you really hit the nail on the head. There were two bills, a House bill and a Senate bill, and for there to be a bill passed, it needs if it starts in the House, it needs to go to the Senate, and then it goes to the governor's desk and vice versa. So we had a variety of different changes, and some of those changes met with a little bit of rustle and tussle. And they put a few different things in there that I would have preferred to have been left out of the bill. I think the constitutional carry is a God-given right here in this country, and I don't think that it needs to have any requirements tied to it. Unfortunately, other folks felt that's what was needed to get the necessary votes to get it to the finish line.
So what did they put in it that you think is not quite just flat out straight constitutional?
Well, it's still a constitutional carry, except for the fact that it requires us as gun owners to still follow a variety of different requirements that are needed and that are similar to what it is to get a CCW. So, and for that, although, and there's a variety of different federal laws that would have covered it. I mean, some of this stuff has to do with, previous, felon, stuff or crimes that maybe have been committed in years past. It's going to create some confusion for people that do want to conceal and carry their firearm now. But ultimately, the main thing is that we do have this now passed, and as you mentioned, we're only we're one of only 20, I think 2 or 3 states now.
Oh no, we're number 22. If the governor signs
22.
it, because right now Alabama is vying with us because they want to be number 22, and I told them tough noogie, they're going to have to be 23 or 24. So we have been watching this across the country to see because we really believe that once the states get to 25, 26, that a nationwide constitutional carry will be considered. When you have more than half of the states that are there, it really gives it a little more heft for the national folks.
Yeah, I think that you're right on that, and also go back to what you said to highlight a few different things. I mean, for folks that are CCW holders out there, I would tell you, as you know it today, we have a duty to notify a police officer pulled over. Once this passes, there will be a subtle change, and in my opinion, I think it's a better change. It is going to be a duty to answer. Basically says that if you get pulled over in your vehicle, there's no longer the requirement to remember to say, hey, officer, by the way, I'm I have a firearm in the vehicle, and so on and so on. It will now be on the cop to say, hey, you have a firearm in the vehicle, and then your response is a yes or no. And I've seen it too many times, both as an attorney, but just in general, where folks have gotten pulled over, didn't realize, or didn't, they're so stressed with the engagement with law enforcement that they have forgotten to say, hey, I am a legal CCW holder and I have a firearm in my vehicle, and there are criminal penalties that are tied to that. That will be one thing that will be removed, and it will now just be a simple yes or no when and if asked by law enforcement.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. I know that at one point I was in a car accident, and I was out of my car when the officer asked for my ID, so I had to go back to my car, and immediately upon getting to my car, I was like, ooh, I'm carrying, and the gun was not on body, so I grabbed my concealed carry license and my driver's license, took it back to the officer, and when I handed it to him, I just put that one on top and said, I am and I am. But I could see exactly that point where there's so much other stuff going on, and and the other dude was bleeding, and so your focus is completely in a different place at that point. Yeah.
Exactly. But no, I'm definitely excited to have this year for Ohio.
I honestly lost that bet because I was at a spot where I really had been quoted as saying Ohio's going to be number 40. And so some of our folks are saying, will the governor sign it? And they say it. So Michael says that he hears that the governor won't. And I don't think that there is a chance that the governor won't sign it, because he actually has an A+ rating with the NRA, not because he's pro-gun, but because of how the House and the Senate have kind of boxed him into a corner and put him with veto-proof documents to where he either signs it and takes the credit, or he gets it anyhow without the credit.
Well, it puts them in a situation, too, where, nobody wants to be the governor during a primary, a Republican primary, where they get embarrassed by the House or the Senate by basically overriding his view on this. I believe that he will sign it, but if he does not, I think those other conversations will be had, and I think that the votes will be there to override him. And, I think Ohio right now is in a great position to push along additional gun bills. I mean, I have a bill out there right now that removes the sales tax on guns and ammunition here in the state of Ohio. We need to start moving these types of bills forward. And if there's an opportunity to meet least resistance from the governor, by all means, we need to take it. It's all about the finished product, which is making Ohio a gun-friendly state, in my opinion.
Well, that would be amazing not to have sales tax on guns and ammunition.
Yeah, I spent $43 last week alone.
I'm telling you. Yeah, I've just been telling every one of our listeners that buy ammo, and right now buy ammo, because it's once again headed toward it's going to be much tougher to get. And we already paid tax on it with the Pittman-Robertson tax, not that it goes to the state, but there is a tax that is built directly into guns and ammo to support sportsmen and the sportsman-type items.
Correct. And that's a federal tax, and that's for all intents and purposes. By all means, I'm all out there trying to tax it, but that does go to good things. So if you're hunters, youth training, things like that, those are important stuff. But the tax that I'm looking to take away or remove and strip away is your estate tax. And the way I look at it, it's really simple. You tax things for one or two reasons, either for revenue or to try to deter individuals. And I don't believe our Second Amendment should be taxed, and so I believe it should be removed, along with just like we have it with newspapers. We haven't taxed newspapers, and that's a First Amendment right.
Interesting. Okay, so what other bills do you are you pushing that are Second Amendment interest for the state of Ohio?
You know what? I have one. There's another bill I'm a co-sponsor of. I cannot tell you how important this really, really is for the state of Ohio, and it is to stop the discriminatory practices that the banks are doing to gun manufacturers and also for gun people that in retail merchants. They have literally done this. This has happened in my backyard in Mahoning County. This has happened across the state of Ohio. I was just at SHOT Show. I've talked to countless gun manufacturers. They can attest to this. The banks can literally come in and say, we're done doing business with you. No reason why, other than we choose who we want to do business with. And the reason why is because of the nature of their business, which is Second Amendment stuff. It's guns, it's ammunition. We cannot have this happen to our businesses here in Ohio, and we need to make sure that they can continue to sell and to make these Second Amendment items, our guns and ammunition.
Well, I am so glad. So, State Rep Al Cutrona, I am so glad that you are on our side and you are in our state. So I'm going to release you now, but thank you very much for joining us on Eye on the Target Radio.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, we are back. So somebody's asking, is there a place that they can go and see the Ohio bill? So all bills as they are passed are available through go to the Ohio House, and I don't know what the constitutional carry bill number is, but start Googling, you'll find it, and then search from there. It will show you as it was written in the Senate, as it was written in the House, as it was passed, and you can read it right there. So that applies to every state and the federal, so that's how you can find them, you can read them, and it's pretty amazing how the whole government works when you can work your way down through those.
As I say, it's just a series of checks and balances where one has to check the other one's work to make sure.
Well, there is that, and some of it is that one's job is to slow the other one down so that we're not speeding over the cliff one way or another. And everybody redefines the cliff differently as to whether it's the right or the left says that this is the other guy's cliff, whatever that is. So Gabby Giffords and a Giffords executive says that the 2A advocates are deeply irresponsible for the Ukraine 2A connection. So a story that came out in Ammoland by Dave Workman.
I'm seeing a lot of this stuff, especially on like social media, where they're saying that when they give them free Kalashnikovs over there and that.
So, yeah, we're going to give you a Kalashnikov, we're going to give you some ammo, come fight, and people are like...
People from out of the country, that you can come and they'll give you, all you got to show is a passport, and they'll give you a gun and your bullets, and
And
you're in the Army now,
You're
son.
in the Army now. You want to help, right? Exactly.
And
so if you're looking at his,
but they argue here that the Second Amendment does no good for home security or homeland security or any of that stuff.
And when they see these posters,
right away the media is all about the fact that whoever they can get to volunteer, and here's and hers custom Kalashnikovs for your wedding presents and stuff.
well, there is that. There is a picture of a mom with a slung rifle over her shoulder, holding hands, walking her, I would guess, 6-year-old to school, with the 6-year-old with like a My Little Pony backpack kind of thing. So you can see that that's what they're doing. And they are losing their minds about that, because how dare that mother? And it's like, well,
life's got to go on. So the kids are going to school, you're going to work, everything's going on, or you can't just stop what you're doing. But
because something's happening in your country.
If a fight comes to your neighborhood, then you might have to stop what you're doing for a couple of hours.
For a little while.
Go and deal with
Exactly. It's really, they are, so the Giffords organization is going after the NRA. It's going after the Second Amendment Foundation. It is just, they are,
it's funny because they have some quotes in this thing about every time from gun safety, and Shannon Watts from the Moms Demand Action. And they're telling how fabulous President Biden's response to gun control is, and how Shannon Watts, what did she say? President Biden shows leadership that we need to unify the country and save lives.
But
I don't know what she's watching, because
I don't know, because when you watch the State of the Union address, it started with the Ukraine citizens are taking up arms and they are defending their country. Go team. And then they said, and here in the United States, we are disarming our citizens because we have too many guns and nobody needs them. All in the same speech.
Well, when I watched that Ukrainian lady that was the ambassador or whatever, they introduced her like something, and then they didn't do anything for her. They just used her as a
stage prop.
Look at what we got, and
look at this. There's
a lot of things here. I think that you can see it, that the anti-Second Amendment people are losing ground every minute by watching the regular television.
Well, when they're watching what's going on in the Ukraine, I mean, when they watched what was happening in Portland, when the groups were rioting and attacking and burning and looting different states and cities, and if it was defunding the police and all this stuff, I mean, everybody's like, I need a gun. They've backed up on that now. That wasn't the left.
Never mind.
The left says that wasn't them. It was the right who wanted to defund the police. And they were just repeating the chant. I'm not sure. We'll just say,
I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
They were just repeating the right's chant.
I wish I had a Kalashnikov, because I'd make sure I didn't give it back. That's for sure.
I'm telling you, but you got to buy a ticket to the Ukraine, and then I don't know. I was watching the guy with the video, and the missiles came in, and pretty much the building that he was standing in front of was now gone. I think I'll stay here.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The old days, though, of them just coming in and flattening the whole city because they really didn't have pinpoint accuracy. Now they got a drone that looks at you ahead of time, says, yeah, that's the guy. So then
need to go.
They drop it in your shirt pocket. So it's nowhere near as messy as it used to be.
It still looks pretty messy.
But it just depends on which team you're on as to how messy things get.
And who you pick as friends, and which street corner you're standing at.
What did your mom say about it? You're guilty by association.
Choose your friends wisely. There's all that.
What was that? The one comedian that said about when your friends are riding in the car with you, and the cop stops you, and they won't shut up. They just keep on yakking.
Right. I don't know that I've heard that, but yeah, those would be ex-friends at that point, whatever that is, because it should be, yes, Mr. Officer, no, right. Mr. Officer. What would you like us to do next, Mr. Officer?
Glad you didn't come to my door and all this stuff.
And Steve, I'm going to stuff a sock in it if you do not shut up right now while I'm talking to the nice police officer. Right? And if
that's how it works. And if you got a gun, I would say it's prudent you don't plan on giving it back.
Well, I'm not giving it up. There is that. So do you have guns? Do you have ammo? And not just a singular box of ammo, as you said. As you said, if you've got one, that's really none. If you've got, so you need a couple hundred rounds of ammunition.
Yeah, it's funny though. I mean, they're fighting over a 10-round magazine, and if you buy a box of bullets, you got 22 magazines full. That's like none. I mean, considering I usually carry around a pack that gives you like 200 shots before you have to reload.
Right, I'm telling you. I'm just going to end with
enough to get me to my car.
Yeah, ammo by the pallet is a really good idea. I'm just going to say that my UPS man is going to hate me again. So he's going to be like, "Oh, it's her again."
Have to run a fork truck next week's delivery.
I think I'm teaching him a whole new vocabulary. We'll just say the postal lady was like, "You just start using UPS, please."
You can stop going to the gym now.
Right. I don't need to. I just need to unload that truck, and I'll be all good.
You know, there's a lot of other things going on with some of this stuff. But I mean, we watch the news, and it's like they can't hardly come back at you next week and say, "Oh, well, we're taking your gun away from you." Or in the fall when the midterms are coming up, you can't imagine someone who's running on a pro-gun platform like what was it? The guy from Texas that was saying he was going to take your guns.
Oh, Beto. Yeah.
Beto O'Rourke. Yeah. I mean,
now he's like, never mind.
That's not going to get you very far, I don't imagine.
Right, but he's all the never mind. So, and in the Ukraine, back to the Ukraine for a second, the Ukraine did not have a law like our Second Amendment. The Ukraine's parliament on Wednesday, February 23rd, voted to approve the first reading of a draft law which gives permission to Ukrainians to carry firearms and act in self-defense. So they are getting the fast track of their version of the Second Amendment, like right now.
It's like when you watch the pictures from Israel, they're all carrying AR-15s, and there's no magazine in the gun, but I'm sure the magazine is right at hand.
Their pocket. There you go. So it'll be interesting. So start looking at those pictures. Are they loaded or they're not? That's a very, very good point. Hey, we'll be back right after this.
You ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
to ride. Standing in the station, ready to step inside. All you can see, something that you do, was red as the future was waiting for you. Train rolls in the station, you cannot make a move. Something inside you gives you heat, and then you know it's true. Is the fog lifting, or is it in your mind? You stand frozen as time unwinds. Can weep and moan, or you can reach your hand up and stop standing alone. Let them take your hand as you lift your face. Rise and take your place.
Shooter standby.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Okay, so if you're not a member of Gun Owners of America, GOA, you probably ought to consider it. I'm going to tell you that I currently am not, but I'm considering it. I am a life member of Second Amendment Foundation and a life member of the NRA. But GOA is probably my next organization, directly after my state organization. So I'm a member of Buckeye.
Some of these are you're seeing them grow up right in front of your face. So they start out as a smaller thing, and they're getting bigger, and they're growing. I guess it's the fact that more people are recognizing them makes them bigger.
Makes them bigger. There's all that. So this week, the Gun Owners of America filed a petition for writ of, I can't ever say this, certiorari, so cert, to the United States Supreme Court challenging the BATF and E. So the ATF in the reclassification of bump stocks as machine guns. So it has been working its way up, but the Eric Pratt, the senior vice president of GOA, commented that if the ATF is allowed to twist federal law to unilaterally decree that bump stock is a machine gun, then they can use the same logic to ban almost any semi-automatic firearm and to undermine the constitutionally protected rights of Americans. And I fully agree with him. I think if they get to make the definition and then redefine the definition, and then, because when they sold bump stocks, you got a letter from the ATF saying this is
legal, and they had reviewed it and everything. This
right.
He had sued on the Sixth Circuit Court, I believe, and won, and then they had come back and reviewed it, and then it was a tie, and when the tie, then the government wins, I guess.
Okay.
So there's a tie, then the government wins.
So now it's back. It's
the House
headed
always
to
wins, I think is how they say.
Oh man, right. So it is going to be interesting, but
the thing is, since they made everyone destroy their stuff and that, I mean, if they say that they're legal, is that somebody going to be able to sue? Is there going to be?
Yeah, they're going to be like, never mind.
What's the outcome since you had to chop your thing up in little pieces?
Right.
I mean, back to.
it's going to be interesting. Yeah. Wow. So Michael says that in New York City, a licensed gun owner cannot have more than 200 rounds total at any time in their residence, and so when I say buy ammo, they can only buy 200 rounds. That's not even ammo. That's not hardly enough. I wonder. So Michael, can you buy it and store it at the gun shop? Can you rent a locker? Right? Can you have it there?
But if you only allowed to have 200 in a residence, then what's the wife supposed to do since she's not allowed to have no bullets? And
I don't know.
The kids are all out of luck too.
Right? Is it 200 rounds per household or 200 rounds per? I mean, not that it matters if it's 200 rounds per person per household, because it's still not enough.
Right.
Because I'm not going to talk about the fact that my husband that one time said, "Where does all this ammo come from?" I was like, "Well, the gun shop. What do you mean?"
It ain't like it's got a.
It doesn't go bad. It's not like it's bagged salad and it's just sitting in the refrigerator turning into goo, right? It is. I'm telling you, we all just buy that salad just so that it makes us feel better and maybe we get to eat it. But
eating that stuff. Huh?
Well.
So here's another group that we should be.
I back them. I'm a life member of the Second Amendment Foundation, for sure.
Gun rights depend on you, which is true. I mean, a lot of these places, their job is to show you that something is going on in your neighborhood or in your country, and it's your job to write letters, to go tell your friends, everybody to vote for the right guy instead of
So the more vocal you are, the more people are like, I like you, and so if this is what you think, then I have no opinion on this. I'm going to go with your.
Facebook will throw you off if you're like that. Too.
Oh, there is that. Rob is in Facebook moratorium. We'll just say.
I don't understand. I mean, I got a 6-day something, but it's like 59 days for groups or something. I don't know what I did to.
I don't know, but yeah. So he's got a 3-tiered ban going on.
They
and
love me.
They love you. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But the Second Amendment Foundation wants you to know where your membership dues money is going, and so right now what they're doing is the more you know, they've got 8.3 million impressions that they are putting out for this campaign, with the intent of gun rights depend on you. And they're urging folks to speak up and demand that the courts protect the Second Amendment. So right now, Second Amendment Foundation has more than 30 active court cases challenging various gun control laws on Second Amendment grounds in several states, including California, Washington, Illinois, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Maryland. Exactly. So it's pretty interesting.
You know, I was just also seeing the gun laws that they're challenging, and they're saying that when the Supreme Court comes out with their decision in June for this New York City
versus
Bruin, that's going to trigger a whole nother load of gun laws, gun.
So some of the stuff is going to be pushed back because the lower courts will decide it based on what the Supreme Court says, and others will pop up.
As they say, if they treat it like Heller, though, they'll ignore it, and then it's got to go back up through the Supreme Court again. But like you say, some other ones, because of this, will all of a sudden pop up, and it frees them up. Like what was it? McDonald wasn't able. It wasn't a case until Heller was a case. Once Heller was decided, then
McDonald fast-tracked.
Right.
So it was really interesting. It took 13 years for Heller to go through the courts. It took 1 or 2 years for McDonald to work its way from the beginning of the courts clear up to the Supreme Court.
Right, but how much of this, if they hear it the right way and say what's going on, it's going to trigger other things. It's going to also be in that same, if you took care of this needs to be looked at. Also,
I know it's gonna be really interesting. So we're living in a really, really interesting time, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to go right to the Supreme Court justice conversation. So, Stephen Breyer, retiring Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, has said he's going, and he's going in the middle of the Joe Biden presidential years. And because he's doing this is sort of where Ruth Bader Ginsburg waited, and then like, darn it, I waited too long, right? So she, because she wanted to retire and then was trying, it was kind of like jump rope. When do you jump in? And when does she go? And she went, in her opinion, in the wrong presidency. So Stephen Breyer has said that he's going to go now so that President Joe Biden can pick a new Supreme Court justice.
They get to pick at this point instead of life expectancy getting the pick.
Getting in the way, right?
But also, too, they're saying, they're picking a woman of color just because Joe Biden says that's what he needs.
So he has made a nomination suggestion of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. And so she is now the one that's in the running as they started to look at new Supreme Court justices. So
the funny part of this whole thing is that no matter who he picks, he's not going to find someone who is as left-leaning as Brewer.
As Breyer was?
Right, and so even this. I don't know what her voting record is, and it's somewhat.
So they picked, part of the reason why they picked her was that she clerked for Justice Breyer.
Right, but they said that the way she votes is actually somewhat foggy. They can't really say what her outcome's going to be. But no matter what, they're saying she cannot be as left-leaning as Breyer is. So
because he was the true definition of left, and so other people aspire to be, but
right,
cannot
so
be.
She's going to be more on the six conservative justices side than she is on the.
Well, even if she's on the liberal justice side, and sometimes steps over, but it currently,
if you look at the two justices that Trump picked, he picked constitutionalists.
Mm-hmm.
So their first 4 or 5 things out of the
gate were not right-leaning, we're constitutionalists, and people were like, how dare they?
The conservative side was freaking out because of the fact that they sided with the left on some of these.
Right.
But I mean, it was their they read what the Constitution says, and that's what they believe.
That's what they believe. So it's still going to be a 6-3 conservative spin. We'll be back right after this.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, so we are back. Pacific Northwest Woods says 2AF, the Second Amendment Foundation, is amazing, showing even with Washington State's anti-gun bills passing, many of us in Washington are very pro-gun. So yes, indeed. So yeah, there's a bill right now that does not look good for Washington State. That is absolutely for sure. And so, you know, it's tough when you're in a state to where no matter what you think or want, it just blows right past you. So let's see. There is a House bill that is coming through in Colorado that is called the Vote Without Fear Act. Again, another anti-Second Amendment bill. And so it is trying to restrict where you can carry and where you can't. And so any place that you may vote, they want to restrict your ability to carry in those places.
Extreme gun-free zone measures.
So there you go. So they want to stack it on top of. I mean, Colorado used to be. It used to be
the Wild West.
It was. It was Wild West, and now it is not. It's like California extension.
It's when John Denver started singing about it. They all.
I don't know. They all moved into there or something. So at the same time, there is another bill. It's extremes, and I don't get it. So also, the Colorado House is working on a bill that provides hunter education courses to all 7th graders. So it brings guns and hunter education into the schools. So on one hand, they're trying to do anti-gun legislation. On the other hand, they're like, let's teach all the kids hunter safety. Let's teach them safety, which is a great move. But there you go. I want you to know that a couple weeks ago, Chuck Schumer came out and he did this whole giant press release about the fact that he is calling for the federal government to provide $1.5 billion in funding for New York's interstate task force on illegal guns, because they're going to get illegal guns off the street. The states are going to work together. This interstate task force on...
You know, the thing is I think the old days of when they caught the criminal, they actually did something to the criminal, would work better for them.
But they don't.
Instead of their bookkeeping thing of who had the gun last and where it went to this time. If you find somebody like that and you break their trigger finger, next time they can't use that trigger finger.
They probably aren't gonna. Yeah, if you do a little more than just spank them and tell them don't be bad again.
Yep, timeout chair is not working out.
It's just not working.
21st century.
But the point I wanted to make on this is that he was in front of the building and did this giant press release, and I demand and I call for it because it's election season.
The media wants you to hear that too, so they're all in having a good old time right there.
So that was the 3rd week of January, and do you know what we're here now?
Nothing.
Crickets. Absolute
I think
crickets.
The banners for that are on the side of the trucks going across the country that we're not hearing about either.
That we're not hearing. Right. But it is, I mean, when you look at it and you're 5 weeks, 6 weeks after this big ta-da, and there is no duh.
That's where the fuse burned out and the firecracker didn't actually pop at that point.
Fizzled.
Standing back, wait to see if there's something going to happen.
It's fizzled. I'm with you.
I'm not getting close to it. You get close.
You get closer. Somebody step on it. Get close over. Get over there. Right. All of that.
They got a new game now for the social media guys.
Oh my goodness! So
they used to eat the Tide Pods and
do the
ice
knockout
water on you
game.
all that
And
stuff.
now Tom Knighton just came out with a story that on social media they're doing a challenge, and they're using airsoft, but it's not really airsoft. It's that you soak the little BBs, and so it's almost like tapioca. You soak them, they get bigger and they get soft, and people are shooting them at you in a drive-by. So you're there, and all of a sudden you see a car coming by with what looks to you like a gun sticking out the window aiming at you. What is your response, or what do you think the response is going to be?
Right, and that's the thing they say when you're walking down the street and someone rolls up on you. What do you assume that is? They stick out the window, and so how many people are going to shoot back is what they're expecting.
That's exactly it. I mean, I would
now
think
they're saying this is a big thing in California, and it's working its way across the
coming
country.
to a city near you, and they're called Orbeez balls. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Orbeez balls, and they're small, colorful plastic pellets that expand when
placed in water. As does, so it's like bubble tea. So it's like the little BBs that are inside bubble tea, which are just tapioca, by the way. In case you wanted lumps in your iced tea, that's what that is.
I never seen it because I wouldn't have bought it anyhow.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy looking.
I have enough trouble with fried okra as
yeah, this would. I'm just saying. So, but if anybody thinks that this is a good idea, we are now state number 22 for constitutional carry.
I think is the old
Right.
saying. That's what my grandmother would say.
So there were all 50 states have some form of concealed carry. We're state number 22 headed for constitutional carry. And you think that pulling a gun that looks like a gun out and pointing it at someone while you drive by them is going to be a good idea? I think that this is going back to you need to pick your friends better, and your ideas need to be a way better thought than that. Okay, so you've got the article on Beto O'Rourke says, I don't mean that anymore, right?
That was the old me, not the new me.
Now, since he's running for office in Texas, and he has found out that he really cannot win in Texas, he's changing his tune from, oh, heck yeah, I'm taking your guns, to, oh, now I'm not really interested in confiscating your guns. I really believe that we ought to just all find some common ground to discuss.
Can't we all just get along?
Second Amendment issues. No, we can't. When you start the conversation with the version that you're not allowed to say on the radio of, heck yeah, I'm coming after you, now you're like, never mind. Hey, right after this commercial break, we're going to have John Richardson on.
And head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Okay, folks, we are back, and with us we have John Richardson, and John is part of the Polite Society podcast as a regular contributor, and he has his own blog, Only Guns and Money, and he is generally in the know when it comes to a wide variety of things. But we'll just start right now with, I use him as the resources to what's happening at the NRA. And John has, for the last couple of years, been a frequent watcher of all of the drama that is associated with the NRA. So check out John's blog, Only Guns and Money. But John, hey, thanks for joining us on Eye on the Target.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Rob, for having me today.
Oh, no problem at all. So there's new news for the NRA. So why don't you tell folks what that is? I have disclosed to them all that I am a life member of the NRA and intend to stay that way. So what's happening?
Well, I'm an endowment life member, and I'm not giving up my membership. There were actually two court developments this week. The first one was in the New York dissolution lawsuit brought against the NRA by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Judge Joel Cohn, there were 18 causes of action, as they were called, against the NRA, and he threw out 4 of the 18, the most important 2 of which said the NRA would not be dissolved. And that, for us as members, that is critical. If we don't have it, the NRA survives. And the second case was that the NRA and Ackerman McQueen came to an agreement that they were going to settle out of court and asked that the case be dismissed with prejudice, which means it cannot be brought back. This was in federal court. But really, the most important thing this week was the NRA, the New York Attorney General's case. And I think both sides are claiming victory, and both sides are entitled to claim victory. I mean, if you think about it, NRA is still here. There was an email that went out this afternoon at 5:52 Eastern my wife got saying, from Wayne LaPierre, we're celebrating an NRA that is safe and energized, saying they scored a major legal victory. And it was. I mean, what the judge said was, in arguing for dissolution, the Attorney General's allegations failed to delineate between the NRA on the one hand and its leaders on the other, who acted without regard to the NRA's interests. In other words, he said, the leaders were not the NRA. They were not you and me. And we also had a very strong First Amendment right to both assemble and to the freedom of speech, which the NRA helps us do.
Well, and I think that was my biggest fear. And I believe that was, at least in my opinion, one of the things that the anti-gun groups were truly hoping for and positioning for was the dissolution, to dissolve the NRA, and then all of its assets could not go to the state. The NRA couldn't move them. At that point, exactly. It would have been that other organizations who said that they are gun education organizations, gun safety educational organizations, would have been there standing with bells on and their hands out, trying to get some of the bounty that was the NRA. So
you hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah, so the fact that they can't do that, they can't tear apart the NRA museum, they can't liquidate it, is a huge win for all of the NRA members. And so I do see that as a huge win for the NRA. But there was a caveat that the judge said that I don't think is as much of a celebratory statement for Wayne LaPierre and some of his cohorts. And so if you'd like to go into that a little bit, I think that, sure. I mean, so the judge says, I'm going to take this away, I'm going to take this away, but, and he just threw it right out there.
He did. In that statement I was reading earlier, he went on to say it also ignores allegations that wrongdoers in control of the NRA do not speak for other NRA members, some of whom have tried to instigate reform within the organization and had been met with resistance from entrenched leadership. And he let stand breach of fiduciary duty claims. He let stand claims that there were unlawful related party transactions. He let stand that they violated whistleblower. He let stand the stuff that really, if I were Wayne LaPierre or if I were John Fraser, I could very easily see them being forced out of the organization. I could see the board of directors being I don't want to say recalibrated, but forced to become more proactive, made into a smaller organization. And the one thing that we really need to keep in mind is that there is nothing stopping Attorney General Letitia James from filing an appeal, either now or at the end of the case. And I've heard that from multiple attorneys.
Mm-hmm. But, right. I mean, that's what the Supreme Court is about, is the filing of appeals, working your way up through the court system because you got an answer you didn't like. And she is... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They call their first level court the Supreme Court, which is kind of backwards, and then they call their Supreme Court the Court of Appeals. It's New York. What can I say?
Got it. So, So do you have any idea on timing now? But I mean, this has been going on for so darn long. And Letitia James the last I'd heard was that she was going to run for higher office. And this would be the political year for that. Is that happening, or has she just decided she'd stay where she's at, or is it 2 years from now?
She has changed her mind. She originally said that she was going to run for governor of New York, and it looks like the Democratic establishment, after Cuomo had been kicked out, she thought she would be a shoo-in, and the Lieutenant Governor, Kathy, Hochul, however you pronounce the name.
Hochul, yeah, something.
The Democratic establishment coalesced around her, and so James has then turned right back around and said, okay, fine, I'm going to run for Attorney General again. All the people that said that they were going to run for Attorney General have dropped out, so she's got a clear shot back to being AG. So let's just put it this way. I would say her political ambitions are muted, put on hold, but they're not stopped. 4 years from now, who knows?
Right. Yeah, she's definitely going to position herself. There is no doubt about it. And if she can do it on the anti-gun platform, she will.
And you figure, Mayor Bloomberg's got billions of money, billions of dollars he can spend on her with independent expenditures.
So what do you mean by that, with independent expenditures?
As long as he doesn't coordinate with her campaign, if he runs ads in favor of her or against her opposition, well, as long as there's no coordination, he can say whatever he wants and spend as much as he wants.
I get it. So it's sort of like where you see the PACs that say that this candidate knows nothing about this, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right. So what do you think, where do you think the next step is going to be? I mean, this was a lot of action this week, really, on this.
The next step could be one of two things. Number one, the 16th and 18th causes of action were tossed out mostly in technicalities. So those could be reintroduced on a separate case so that they clarify the difference between program-related funds and institutional funds. It gets real technical in legal jargon. That could be reinstituted. As it is, I think they're going to go on and they're going to hear more testimony, go to trial on the remaining counts where they will make a decision.
I had heard the other day that they had started to subpoena people from at the NRA Women's Organization as a piece of this also. What are you hearing on that?
Well, they had a long subpoena for a lot of stuff for Susan LaPierre. And in her role as head of, was it the Women's Leadership Forum? Spending NRA dollars, asking about flying her niece here and there, employing her niece, bringing in some people who have, a number of women who have participated in the leadership forum to testify. To me, it sounds like they're focusing on the LaPierres as a couple to see whether or not they spent NRA money or NRA Foundation money for personal expenses that would violate New York not-for-profit law, corporation law, which is pretty stringent. And if so, they're going to be asking for a lot of money back.
That could be
fines, and then money that would then go back to the NRA.
Okay, so it would be a repayment of funds used and spent. So, John, will you hold on, and we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be back right after this break.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough? Check out offhandgear.com. A brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Rangemaster certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, so we are back, and with us we have John Richardson, and he writes a blog called Only Guns and Money, and you want to check that out. He's also a frequent guest host on the Polite Society podcast on Monday nights. So Michael's saying, is Bloomberg's anti-gun money that he spends, is that money tax deductible? John, can you answer that? Do you know?
Part yes and part no. Yes, I think I can answer it. What he spends on political stuff, no. What he spends for a 501c3, yes, it would be deductible. Mm-hmm. Just like money, okay, so if you donate to the NRA itself, it's not tax deductible. But if you donate to the NRA Foundation, it is tax deductible.
So it's kind of which bucket does it go into? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so while we were at commercial break, Rob asked me, so how far back can Letitia James go? Since Wayne LaPierre's worked for the NRA for 35 years or something, how far back can they go?
I don't know what the statute of limitations is, but I figure she's going back as far as she can. And that's a very good question. I don't have a good answer for that. And I want to say I have nothing personal against Wayne LaPierre. I think he's done very good for the NRA over the years. But I think he's kind of, remember as a kid, we were always warned by our parents about running with the wrong crowd. Be careful so you don't run with the wrong crowd. I think over time he's been associated with people that have pulled him astray, whether it was Ackerman McQueen leading him around or whether it's now Bill Brewer, the attorney. The impression I get, he's not the world's strongest man.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, the interesting part for the NRA is the fact that Wayne LaPierre typically raises about $1 million a day. So how who are they gonna, everybody, there are so many people with this call for, I'm not donating another penny until Wayne's gone. Get rid of Wayne, whatever that is. Okay, who do you put in there? Who's the farm team? Who's backing this up? And there's so many people who are like, roll out the whole board, or get new board members, or make the board smaller. But are the board there because they're actually elected? I mean, you and I think about the board members as we pick them. So many people are like, oh, I know that name, and they pick them the same way they look at their sports figures, or heck, how they pick their governors, because, oh, I've heard that name before. It may be that their same name is the name after Church's chicken or something. So guess what? Governor Church is going to be elected. But, I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, in terms of the election of the NRA board, you're correct. It's, I think, one reason that they changed the names around on our ballot so that there's the first guy on the ballot or first girl on the ballot isn't the one that gets all the votes. But I think too many people have been elected just because of name recognition, even if they've done nothing for the NRA. The prime example would be Carl Malone, who never even bothered to attend a board meeting to get sworn in as a board of director.
No.
In terms of a farm team, I think there's been, unfortunately, a conscious effort not to have a farm team. It was long assumed that Chris Cox would be the person who was groomed to fill the position. He was forced out. I don't think he was a traitor. I think it was I think we'd be looking at Bill Brewer there again. I did present I presented a resolution at the 2020 NRA annual meeting of the members in Tucson that would have set up to study a formal succession process. That was voted down. It was massacred, to be honest. And you had board of director and 3 people from the board of directors. Boom, boom, boom. This is bad, bad, bad. And it went down to defeat. But really, successful organizations, like you alluded to, have a farm team. People that will be ready to step in if something happens. It's why most states have lieutenant governors, why we have a vice president, and we have a defined path of succession in the U.S. government. You look at real successful corporations like GE when it was run by Jack Welch. The people who didn't get to be his successor went on to be CEO. Everybody wanted them for their CEO because they were that good.
Right.
And there needs to be people like that. And I don't see, Josh Powell certainly wasn't there, and I don't see some of the people in executive directors now as being capable enough to do it.
Well, and there's a bunch of turnover at the NRA. I mean, when you're reaching out to talk to people, there's a bunch of people that are in and out, a bunch of people that are gone. And I know specifically on the events planning side, they have lost a goodly portion of their staff, and now even some of the leadership has gone. And so, I don't know if it's because it's that time, or because they lost so many of the people below it. It's just so high stress trying to do so much with so little. And then like the annual meetings being repositioned and then canceled and repositioned. And so there's all this work without any successes going with it. They're just working and taking a beating because of COVID and the shutdown and rescheduling and all of those types of things.
Yeah, you're correct about that. And I think there are other divisions within the NRA that are outside the lobbying area, the membership division, the people who work with NRA clubs, trying to get a hold of somebody from people I've talked to who are officers in NRA-affiliated clubs is really, really hard for them. Mm-hmm. And you could blame COVID for part of it. You could blame a reduction in contributions. I'm not sure where you put the full blame.
Right. It's really interesting. I know that in the instructor side, when you call in, it's tough to get a hold of somebody, but they've done a bang-up job of monitoring their social media sites. And so you can actually get them easier on a social media site than you can get them by calling into the office. And so somebody tags somebody, and the next thing you know, you've got your answer. And so it works. But that to me just says that they're all working from home, and calls being forwarded and desks and all of that type thing. So they figured out how they can cover the things that they need to cover. But yeah,
I think you're right. It's like trying to call an airline and you don't get a response, but you put something on Twitter, and within 2 to 3 minutes, if it's a complaint, you're going to get something from United, Delta, Southwest, whomever, because the world sees it.
Right. And they're actively engaged that way. So what do you think is next? We've got about 1 more minute to talk about the NRA here.
Well, next will be the annual meeting in Houston. There will be, we're having an election right now. I think you know where I stand on that.
Right.
I don't know when they have scheduled to go to trial. I mean, you're seeing a lot of stuff back and forth, competing motions, but eventually it's going to have to go to trial. And it could be a month or two case, to be honest.
I can't even imagine being picked for a jury for something that looks like this kind of a case. It would make your head hurt.
It would make your head hurt, and they may just say, we're going to leave it in the hands of the judge, and that would be the smart thing to do.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. realizefac.org.